Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekend Sports, and it's Red Wing breakdown time. Not much has been going on, though. There's some small news going on. Turns out Larkin did not add any more teams to his trade list like we thought he did, a month ago. Which is why also nothing probably has happened because none of the three teams have anything, especially Florida now after trading for Kachuk. They have nothing. Your best case is Minnesota, who don't want to give up the pieces that Yzerman wants for obvious reasons. But he did add Dallas to the possibilities. Apparently, Dallas has offered Jason Robinson a trade, but Yzerman doesn't want to make a deal unless Robinson's going to stay here. Which, again, I mean, some people don't like that. Some people are fine with that. It's
and
really
he also doesn't want to give Robertson the money that he's asking.
But if you want top players, you got to give the money.
We know that. This is a game right now between both sides. Both sides are playing us, and fans are getting excited, and pundits are getting. But this is simply seems like a game, and they know what they're doing. Yzerman's asking for things that he knows he'll never get. Wyatt Johnson, he ain't gonna get that guy. He's better than Larkin. And I don't think he wants Robertson either because he doesn't want to pay him. So he knows he's asking for things.
Well, Robinson's also asking for a ton of money.
Yeah, but
he turned down 15 from Seattle. So again, I'm not saying he's not worth a good amount of money, but
how what it's turning into. The cap is rising, and these players want to get paid. Larkin is probably underpaid.
Your problem with it is, when you look at it, right, our highest paid player is like $8 million or a little over $8 million. Are you going to pay Jason Robinson twice what anybody else on the team makes? Yeah, that's what you have to look. That's what you're looking at. Like, again, so I get
and then
why
you got to pay Edmondson.
You got to pay Evanson right now, right?
And like I said, you
got to pay Debrincat if you want to keep him.
Some of these players are going to get lucky about when their contracts are coming up because this new, cap is going to change everything. What looked like a great deal 2 years ago may not look like a great deal now.
But the cap's going up all the time. Now the highest paid player is $18 million. Leo Carlson,
right,
from Anaheim, got his offer sheet matched from Anaheim that Philly was offering. So now your highest paid player in the NHL makes 18 mil. What trend will that set? What's Debrincat gonna want now? What will Jason Robinson want in comparison to Leo Carlson making 18 million? The cap is gonna go up year by year, like you said.
Right, and you have to ask yourself: Is Yzerman the right kind of GM for this era? Maybe the game has passed him by. Maybe he can't. You can't live in a world where everybody is excessively cheap and frugal. You got to be able to spend some money if you're even interested in winning the cup, which maybe they're not. I don't know about Illich. Maybe this is just simply, hey, just put a team out there, let's make some money, and that's about it. It's hard for me to believe that Yzerman's like that, but maybe he is. I don't understand because we've been in a holding pattern, it feels like, for quite a long time. He's known that we've needed a second center on this team and has not addressed it the entire time like he's been here. Funny thing is about these things that he wants is this guy, if he simply had drafted Quinn Hughes and Wyatt Johnson instead of two guys who aren't even with the organization anymore, this would be a hell of a team.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see what ends up happening. Are we going to lose out on Patrick Kane coming back? We'll see. Again, he's still a free agent right now. Evanson's still technically a free agent, but restricted, so you don't have to worry about that as much. But again, last thing you want is an offer sheet, coming out, and now you have to match a high offer sheet on Simon Evanson because Carolina decided to offer him $15 million. Now you're screwed because you're paying Evanson $15 million, or you're going to let him walk. Though you would get 4 first-round picks if you did let him walk. So there's the bright side with that. If we did lose out on him, but you don't want to. And again, it's back and forth. Either you're going to try to make a trade to make Larkin happy, right? Could we go get Werenski from Columbus? Could we go, get somebody else, a bigger name, maybe make Larkin happy. But I don't think you want to do that. I don't think the fans want to see Larkin on the team anymore. I think we're all done with him. No matter how much you might have liked him at one point, I think everybody wants him gone. You want out, you get out. We don't want to appease you to
Right.
stay here. You don't want to be here, leave.
Right.
So I don't think that will be the case where they try to trade for somebody to make Larkin happy. But also, if he doesn't get moved, we'll see
Anything
what
can be
happens.
mended, though. Anything can be mended. And if you want to keep, if Larkin and I believe me, fans forget things overnight. They ain't gonna hold this again. Half the people are on Larkin's side, if not more.
Well, we don't blame him for
And
wanting out,
and
but you're a captain.
I think you're looking at two sides who just number one, they don't like each other. I think that's fairly obvious. And they're just playing games right now. They're not Eiserman's not really trying to trade him because because of the list that he gave him. And Larkin, I don't know, maybe Larkin's trying to force Eiserman to get players that can push this team over the top. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't believe that things can't be repaired if it comes down to it. Fans forget. Fans aren't going to hold this stuff.
Let's just say at the moment,
If
he is public enemy number one, and if he's probably
I
still
Eisman's right there with him, 1A, 1B. There, as far as that goes, I don't think any more people like Eisman right now than they do Larkin.
I'm gonna say if Larkin's still on the team, that home opener probably is not going to be nice for him.
Maybe not.
Maybe
But
not too long
if
after
we
that.
still
Again,
got
you
2
forget,
months
but
we still got 2 months to go and a lot can happen. If both sides kind of maybe apologize or in some way reconcile and say, and show the fans that, hey, let bygones be bygones. I don't think fans would care. We do need, like I said, Eiserman has not done the job. That's fairly obvious.
yeah, there were 9 days into free agency. Obviously, everything mostly happened on the first day and a half of free agency, and
Right.
you've only signed really one player.
Well, I mean,
Who's going to
I'm
affect the
talking
team?
about over the course of his tenure. He has not done the job.
Well, yeah, Eisman
Uh,
himself has been
it you
lackluster at times.
that isn't even debatable. And I think it's perfectly reasonable for Larkin to say, "Look, I've given you 10 years, and I'd like to win. I'd like to experience the playoffs." I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to ask. Now, people are going to go, "Well, he signed a 5-year contract with us." Yeah, I was done with him. He shouldn't have done that, probably.
But I
But
think with the new collective bargaining agreement, I think there might be if
yeah,
you wish to be
and
traded, your no trade clause is waived.
we all know what Larkin is. This Eisman knows what Larkin is. He's a second line center, a very good second line center. Your job was to find somebody to be that first line center. You didn't do it. You can't keep pounding. You look at these guys who have passed us by. Like I said, you want Wyan Johnson. You could have drafted that guy instead of Kosa, who you got rid of. And you would have had your first line center to go with Larkin. That was on Eiserman. I I think where Larkin may be at fault here is he isn't willing to go to more than two or three or four teams.
Yeah.
And in the teams that he suggested, he knows they can't afford him. They know he can't fit him in at this point. Vegas can't fit him in.
Dallas is in a
Florida
terrible
can't fit him in.
Dallas is in a terrible
Dallas can't
cap
fit.
situation. That's why again they would have
Right.
to
I mean,
trade
are
us
they
someone
gonna?
big. It would have to be almost a fairly even trade player wise
It would have to
because
almost be an unfair trade. They're not, like I said, the two players that they've asked, and I disagree with Eiserman in the sense that you got to pay people. If
you
they
do.
could get Jason Robertson for Larkin, yes, that's going to leave us a massive hole up the middle. But
But
that's
like I said,
deal with it.
work on your young centers. Hope that with great wingers, those young centers can come out of their shell and
Maybe go get Elias
do that.
Patterson out of Vancouver. See if you can.
That had to be a
Wait,
whole separate trade because Larkin ain't going to go to Vancouver.
no, he's not. But they said a 3-person trade or something like that. But I'm not wanting to pay Jason Robertson is kind of, to me, just being, cheap.
I think the only way that you're going to probably get Larkin out is the 3-team trade, because he's not going to. Again, Dallas is in a cap situation where they'll struggle regardless of the of what you do, because they're already like 1 mil until they're over cap. Florida already gave up all their picks for the foreseeable future for Brady Tkachuk. Uh, Minnesota doesn't really have anybody of interest that they would give us, and the same thing with Vegas. So you're kind of at just a point where what are you going to do?
Right.
He's going to have to eventually give you a team where you can maybe get something from them in a good situation. Dallas so far is the best situation because they have their own situation. We just swap our problems and hope that we can figure it out. But
Right.
that's not how that trade's going to go anyways. You're not going to swap your problems and just leave it at that. There's going to be picks involved and other players involved and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot to figure out right now.
It is. And like I said, I think none of this is going to get figured out until almost probably
training camp
September.
If anything's going to happen, it'll happen before training camp. If not, then trade deadline.
I think there are a lot of petty feelings involved here too. I think Yzerman's being kind of petty. He hasn't seemed, like I said, as a player, we all loved him. And then we thought, when he saw the success he had in Tampa, that maybe he could bring some of that over here. But his tenure here, I mean, we certainly have improved.
You have improved. But we're year after year.
But we also are no closer to being a cup team than we've ever been. We're nowhere. We're not even close.
You might be able to.
After 8 years, we're not even close.
You might be able to surprise in a playoff series, but that'd be about it.
Surprise in the sense that you'd win a game. Because that's where they're at right now. Like I said, you look at the East, I know it's tough, but that's the reality of it. It may not be fair, but you've had 8 years and you're not any closer to being a cup team.
You are not.
You're a better team compared to yourself over the course. You've had more points.
So we've said it year after year,
but you're not any closer to being a cup team. And that's what we want. We haven't made the playoffs yet. You haven't even made the playoffs. So regardless of the fact that you've improved on points, you've not done a good job. I can't say, like I said, that Yzerman, and I kind of agree with people who say if it wasn't who he was, he'd be fired.
Probably.
He'd be fired by now.
And again, it sucks when you look at everything. The Red Wings themselves, again, we've said it multiple times, they're were way better in the West than they were the East. Out of 10 years in the Eastern Conference, or 11 now, because you have a 10-year playoff drought, you made the playoffs once. You made the playoffs your very first year. And since then, you've not seen the playoffs.
Right. The East is considerably harder.
Every team in our division can make the playoffs. Every team in the Atlantic Division could make the playoffs.
I would like to see what Connor McDavid would do in the East. I think, like I said, it's considering him, he's supposed to be the best player in the world, or at least in the NHL. I think he would struggle to ever reach the finals in the East.
Yeah, because again, looking at the teams overall, again, 15 out of 16 teams in the East could be in the playoffs next year.
Right. It ain't going to be one. It isn't going to be you. Guess what? Detroit, in that sense, could sit there and just be, hey, you know what? As far as this Larkin thing goes, we're not making the playoffs no matter what we do.
I include you in there because you were in the hunt.
I know that's a horribly negative attitude to take, but that's the reality of it. Florida's going to make the playoffs next year if they're healthy, unless they have massive
Toronto is going to fight for playoffs again next year.
Injuries. Toronto is probably going to make the playoffs next year.
The Rangers have given up. Really, the only team I see that's given up in the East is the Rangers.
This is like
you are sitting there hoping to make the playoffs. You are that. Right, you are that 15th team in the East.
You're probably going to drop. So knowing that, I think that you basically like I said, if Larkin was willing to expand his playoff things, hey, if you want to basically go into a you rebuild again, because I think that's what you're going to have to do. Because you look at the success of these teams, and that they all have that superstar one center. You gotta have people more than one great player, and we don't really even have one great. We mean Debrincat's the closest we got to a elite scorer, and that may only be because he's on our team.
Yeah. I mean, you got Raymond, but he has to come out of his shell. He got scared last year after getting injured.
Right.
So he wouldn't shoot the puck as much. You gotta hope
You
you're
got
young
some
guys.
potential and stuff like that. And this team, like I said, hovers around 92, which, like I said, in the West would be great. But
In the West, you would have been in the playoffs.
right,
You would have been third place in the Pacific. You
right,
would have made the wild card. And
right.
get out of the West, you probably have about 10 teams that are playoff caliber out of their 16. Well, again, you look at the East, and it's at least 15 out of the 16.
It's just reality.
And who knows what the Rangers actually will do next year, but they've given up. They've traded pieces away. They don't got a lot going on for them. But again, they're only 5 games under 500. So who knows what the Rangers could do?
It's just
I
reality.
only add you in the 15 teams because you were close to the playoffs the past 2 years. But at the same time, you're struggling. You're the bottom of that 15 potential teams to make the playoffs out of the East.
I mean, I'm trying to have just a realistic hope that this team would make the playoffs, and I don't have it. I don't have it. They're not better than Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Boston.
Ottawa.
They're probably better than Ottawa.
They're probably on par with Ottawa right now.
I would say they'll pass Ottawa because I think
they lost Tkachuk.
Because they lost Tkachuk.
Florida's going
to be better than them. Toronto's going to be better than them. Carolina's going to be better than them. Pittsburgh is, come on.
But they're old.
They're
so we'll
old,
see what happens.
I mean, they just seem to. They're right there. I think you and Pittsburgh probably with Larkin are even. Philly's
on par.
Philly's past you, I think. Washington, I don't know. Columbus,
you're on par.
They're on par with you.
Islanders on par. Devils on par.
Rangers getting better.
No, they're not. The Rangers traded everybody away.
Well, they did. But the Devils
are getting better.
The Devils got Jack Hughes and all those guys. You never know how good they're going to be.
They had above 500 record. They have more wins than you.
I just say
only 3 teams had less wins than you this year.
Out of the 16 teams, you're probably about 12. That's what you are. You're probably around 12.
3 teams in the East had less wins than you last year. That was Florida, Toronto, and New York. And Florida and Toronto are going to be better.
And you're going to lose Larkin. So it's for all intents and purposes, probably. Or you're going to have a very disgruntled Larkin coming back. Most people think they're not going to trade him. He's going to sit out. He's not going to show up for camp.
He won't get paid.
So he won't get paid. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Either or, like I said, you're not going to be you're not making the playoffs next year. I'll be shocked if they
got to do a little more. Again, they're probably going to sit in the same situation we have the past 2 years. Like we said multiple times. You probably are going to be, 2-3 games out of it with 5 games left.
I think if they went out,
it's probably what's going to happen again.
If they got somebody like Jason Robertson for Larkin, I mean, your wingers are greatly improved.
Yeah.
But your centers, you have to hope to God that Casper and
Finney, put Casper at 1, Finney at 2, Confer at 3.
Just hope for the best.
And let's let the young kids go. That's what you got to do. But again, like I said, you're probably going to be sitting like you did the past 2 years. 5 games left. You're going to be like 2 or 3 games out.
Maybe you're put Mike Confer at number 1 center. At least he's got experience. I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
No. You got Kopp. We haven't even mentioned Andrew Kopp.
Andrew Kopp. We got him. Right. Finney could be 3rd center or something. Andrew Kopp could be 2nd.
Put Casper as 1.
Or Andrew Kopp at 1. Who knows?
Or Andrew Kopp at 1. Confer should not be 1. Either give Casper the chance or just put Kopp up there because he can win face-off. But regardless, again, you're going to sit there. You're going to probably be close again, and then you're probably just going to get disappointed again. Your offense is the problem. Your defense has played better. But we'll see what ends up happening and what they do.
Okay.
We'll end it here. The rant's over. Like Casino, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the Red Wings and their struggles. And until next time, see everybody soon.